Hey, folks, we're trying the video thing again, so we'll see how this works out. It's either going to be awesome or the biggest disaster ever. We'll lose you halfway through. I don't know. All right, you ready, Gary?
Yeah, I'm ready.
2 in the studio today, not even 3.
No,
Okay.
We got Ned.
Ned's with us, in spirit. Okay, here we go. Hey, folks, welcome to this episode of the GalaxyCast. Ned's already been mentioned. I have with me Gary the Stud.
That's me.
It's just Gary and I. We're literally the 2 guys talking tonight. That's kind of odd. It's been a while since we've just been the 2 guys talking, and not at least 3 or more.
And it could probably just be Bob talking.
Well, no, let's go easy on me here. Garen's going to be a little cynical tonight. I can see where we're going with this. So, first off, we have to give a shout-out to Eric. Eric's had a rough life over the last 2 or 3 weeks. He has been, he's been to Anime Central Con, right? I mean, I think that was one of the ones he did.
I think
did
that was,
an amazing piece of chalk art there. If you haven't seen it, please head over to pepperinc.com. Check it out. Totally awesome chalk art. I was amazed at what he did. Just very cool. And I'm not even into anime. I mean, so that tells you something about Eric's work. And then he's at the Dryden Chalk Festival this coming weekend. So he's been a busy, busy man. And, hey, life goes on. I've been busy, too, but with all sorts of school things. So, my things are not as exciting as Eric's things. And not as promotable for some reason.
Right.
So, Gary, you wanted to give a shout-out to Ned. Why did you want to give a shout-out to Ned tonight?
Well, one of the things he said to me on his live streaming paint a bucket deal he had today on Facebook was to shout out to him because Hondo got one and he hasn't got it.
Okay. All right. Well, he's got to write into the show more.
So
write in, Ned. Go to GalaxyCast.com, fill out that contact us thing.
So I figured like every 15, 20 seconds we'd mention Ned.
Okay. Yeah, we'll just net it up all night long.
Yeah. So instead of me saying 3, like I normally do, it's gonna be Ned.
That's awesome. Okay. Well, Gary and I were actually scrounging for things to talk about. I kid not.
Yeah, because there was Ned anything on the internet.
Everything was just Ned. We couldn't cover anything. No, it's been a really weird and quiet and oddly. Well, I can't say it's quiet. It's just a weird week. I don't know how to explain it to people. Okay, we've seen Civil War, and we're kind of in this weird lull now where it's there's no new information about Rogue One. There's not much coming out information-wise about movies. I'm not really amped up about Apocalypse. I think you feel the same way, right? You're...
I'm not very hyped on it, but I'll probably go see it.
I'll probably go see it once just to say, yep, saw that.
Yep.
Didn't like it, probably. But, maybe you and I will have to go see it together or something just to kill some time at some point. Yep. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing that's screaming out at me I want to go see or I want to go watch or. It's odd when I was just reflecting about this with a friend the other day. It's odd to think that this year's sleeper hit of the year, and I shouldn't even say sleeper hit, the hit of the year for superhero movies might actually be Deadpool.
Yeah.
When you think about it, when you think about this year, it's Batman versus Superman, not as big a hit as I thought it would be. Civil War, although good, I don't know, just not. It didn't, rise to that occasion that I expected. But then Deadpool came out of nowhere. Didn't expect much from that movie, and it was that was an awesome movie. And it came out in February, so it's I still look back at this year and go, wow, maybe Deadpool, is the superhero movie of the year.
It probably will be because it's R-rated first of all.
Maybe that's it, yeah.
The second thing is it came out in February, and there was nothing.
That's true. There was no competition at all. You're right.
So
it'll be interesting to see how Civil War stacks up with Apocalypse this weekend. I think if there's anything that's going to take Civil War off the throne at this point, it will be X-Men Apocalypse. But I'm not even sure it'll do it. We'll see. It may not do it. So let's start with the first story. And Gary even was commenting that he may not comment on this one, so we'll see. So all throughout this week, and this is a hard one for us to ignore. This is why I'm covering this story. A young lady, I don't know how old she is. She's a mother of, was it 2 or 3 kids? 3 kids, I think. Went online. Her name's Candace Payne, and she had gone to Kohl's she was buying other things, supposedly yoga pants, right? I think is what she said.
Yeah, I think that's more of a joke than anything else.
Yeah, and she said she bumped into this electronic voice masked Chewbacca, and of course she opened it up in her car, and it became the next phenomenon on the internet. Supposedly she broke the internet with this one, and she opened it up live, and of course, people went bonkers because she puts this Chewbacca mask on and she starts laughing, and she sounds ridiculous because she's laughing, and the Chewbacca roar is going off. Now I'm assuming the Chewbacca roar is connected to the
jaw
mouth,
movement.
the jaw,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so it's and she's laughing and giggling and acting like a fool, and okay, I had mixed feelings about the whole thing. Like, I get it.
Well, the first thing is she's got one of those laughs that makes you laugh.
Right. Like, she's infectious. Her laugh is absolutely infectious. And I get it, and that's funny, and that's awesome, and I think that's promotable, and that's cool and all. I don't know if it was worth breaking the internet over. You know what I mean? Like, I still have watched that. I've watched it a couple times, and I'm kind of like, I guess I just don't get what's so funny about the mask, Maybe just because it roars. I don't. To me personally, I don't understand the humor behind it. Like, I'm missing something. But now it's like gone viral. I mean, this thing has gone crazily viral. I mean, to the point that she was on a late night talk show. She ended up being on Good Morning America for it. Who showed up? Was it Toys R Us showed at her door, I think, and gave her kids each a Chewbacca mask and like thousands of dollars of toys and stuff for her kids. Which is all great and grand. These companies can go do that stuff. I am not knocking that at all. Matter of fact, I think one of the best memes I saw on Facebook was, it's a good thing that we've got costuming groups out there who do the things that they do and don't care about those things from companies. I kind of agree. We do all these things for charity. We do all these things, these armor making Gonk. I just spent like 8 hours this week working on Gonk, Why? Because I like Gonk, and I want Gonk to look cool, and we're at conventions and stuff, and we were just at one, and there was all sorts of little problems with them, so I need to go fix them. But, but we don't ask for fame and fortune or anything that kind of stuff. And I don't think this lady asked for that stuff to happen to her. I think that was more of a residual effect, I guess. So I'm not upset about that. The only thing that does upset me slightly is that I feel like we've gone way overboard. Like she got a free LFL visit. She got to talk to H.J. Abrams and other people. And, it seems like it was a little over the top as a reaction to me. I don't know. I'm not jealous. It's not that at all. I just feel like that the reaction was a little over the top. And I think that's why Gary doesn't want to talk about it.
I got nothing to say about it.
Yeah.
It's to me,
like you said, you don't want to give her any more airtime
Yeah.
than she's already gotten. And I get that. I totally get it. And I totally understand that. And that's... I just wanted to address it because it's out there. You know what I mean? Like, people are talking about it. It's out there. Like I said, I'm not mad about it. I know there are people out there like, what? Like, how dare she get all this stuff? I'm not mad about that part of it. Companies can do that. But actually, I kind of feel like, in a way, maybe she's getting used. And I don't even think she knows she's getting used. She's getting used to an extent because, let's face it, Toys R Us went out there to give her toys to promote themselves, not her. You know what I mean? And I think Kohl's used her to promote themselves, not her. And I think LFL used her to promote themselves and not her. And that's what bothers me a little bit, slightly.
And JJ meeting her.
It's about him. It was about
Yeah.
him. It wasn't about her. And that what bothered me. It's not her, actually. It's the idea that we're using her to promote something that works for a company or works for another individual. And I'm kind of like, no, that would be like exploiting you and I as costumers for LFL to do their next movie. But I mean, like, exploit us. You know what I mean? I'm not talking about, like, hey, you can go and raise money for charity. I mean, like, actually exploiting us. And that would bother me if we were ever asked to do that. So that's my thoughts on that. That's my 2 cents. I'm done. You can write to GalaxyCast.com and tell me if you agree or disagree. I'm sure Eric will have some thoughts when we see him next.
Yeah, come on, Ned. Let us know.
Yeah, Ned, where do you stand on this? That would be interesting to know where Ned stands. So that's what we thought about that. Okay, so the next one I want to talk about, this one's a little more near and dear to my heart. And I'll admit, I went and I put out an angry Facebook post, and I don't put those out often. But this one put me in a rage.
Yeah, I think the last one you did was about 4 years ago.
Yeah, and more like a really upset one. Yeah, like really ticked off, cheesed off, like I'm really ticked off at the world type one. But this one really sent me over the edge. So lately, Marvel just released Captain America, Steve Rogers' Captain America #1, which is the latest issue of Captain America. Of course, we're rebooting for the 14th time, I think, in the Captain America franchise. I don't remember what the number is at this point. A lot of reboots. That's fine. They can do that to a character. I actually don't bother. I don't get bothered by that when they do that with Batman, Superman, Captain America. I'm pretty used to them relaunching at this point. Marvel in particular, they do it all the time. This is where Uncanny X-Men came from. Or no, Uncanny Avengers. That's the one I was thinking about. Came from, and all sorts of these different multiverses they do. But in this particular episode, Captain America, there's a shot where he turns on and he says, "Hail Hydra," And then it's revealed that Captain America has been a Hydra agent this whole time. All along. And, a lot of people are like, oh, come on, take it easy. This isn't going to be the real deal, this and that. The thing is, here's where it gets kind of dicey. One of their producers went on, I think it was the New York Journal that they actually spoke to. Maybe it was New York Times. They did a whole article on it and said, yeah, this is the real deal. Since 1940, whatever, Captain America's actually been working with Hydra. And his whole fight with the Red Skull, that was all for play and for show, because they needed to get Captain America deep-rooted into the S.H.I.E.L.D. agency. And all this stuff it's all true. And that Captain America, since 1940 whatever, has been an agent of Hydra. And I'm just like, you can't... my mind is blown on multiple levels, like why this just can't work. I mean, first off, you have taken an American icon to me, and you've just basically blown it up. And said, okay, this is now a spoiler, and check it out, and I think this is all a hoax on Marvel's part to try to get people to come to the comic and read it. Like, gee, I wonder what that's all about. I think it's going to backfire on them. I actually think what they're going to get now is people going, you know what, I'm not going to read that now. I'm done. And I actually said that to my wife. I'm like, I'm done with Captain America comics. Let's not even order, like, the next... I'm not even ordering them anymore. Like, I don't even want to get them. I won't even get the Captain America, the Steve Rogers Captain America line, because I'm done. I don't want... Captain America, to me, was supposed to be the quintessential superhero. How do I put this? He's the good guy who had a good heart, but just didn't have the powers.
He's the American Boy Scout.
Right, yeah, you're right. That's exactly it. He's the Boy Scout who didn't have the powers, but was given the powers. Was given the responsibility. So, like with Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility. Here's Steve Rogers being handed responsibility, but not even being told what to do with it. Just handed it to him and said, let's make you a super soldier. And that bothers me that we have twisted the story that much that all of a sudden Captain America is what he is. And I don't care. I'm actually done with, well, he's still alive, whatever, okay? Or I'm done with, well, maybe this is a Super Skrull version, or maybe he's in a multiverse we don't know about, or maybe I'm done with all that. I'm done with Marvel playing these games, these mental games, these time shifting, alter shifting, universe shifting. Why can't we just have a regular superhero story? And that, when people couldn't believe why certain comics were so popular they were in the late 90s, okay? And I'm trying to think of some that come to mind. Spawn is one that comes to mind, right? Yeah. And everyone's like, well, why was it so popular? And I'm like, it's not because it was a superhero and nobody had ever seen one before. Everybody's seen superheroes before. But what made Spawn popular was the idea that we had new stories. That we weren't trying to relaunch a character. We weren't trying to redo something that had already been done. It was different. And I kind of feel like Marvel's lost that. There's nothing different. So what do? We twist the story till people really don't want to see it anymore.
Right. I call it more laziness on the writers' parts than anything else.
I agree with you. Like, this is absolute just utter laziness. They don't know what else to do with the character, so quick. Make him the bad guy, and we'll just keep going that way. And the rumor is, well, maybe they're going to make the Falcon's version of Captain America the Captain America, and Steve Rogers is going to walk away and join Hydra and all this. And I'm like, I really don't care anymore. Now, you put me in a position where I don't care.
Now, what if they come out later on in this whole series that he was just a double agent or something?
I guess I'm done with the double talk, because that's been done before. You know what I mean? Like, how many times... This would be the third or fourth time they made him a double agent and something like that got revealed, and I don't know. It's just getting old. That idea is getting old. I don't know. I would actually rather... I'm actually at the point right now, there's a comic somebody just come out with that suggested they have... I think it's Steve Rogers' son, so it's like a son of Black Widow and Steve Rogers. It's an Avengers. It's a future Avengers, and they're kids. And they're all kids of different people. So, like, what if Black Widow and Steve Rogers had a kid? And what if this person and that person had a kid? So there's all these different people who have children, and they become the new Avengers. And I was kind of like, that's a cool idea. I'm actually okay with that. It's relaunching, but it's not relaunching. And that's the part that bothers me. I don't know. It just... I don't know. I'm such a big Captain America fan. It totally ruined the franchise for me. Totally ruined it. Okay, Gary, here's what I know you're going to want to talk about. We have not talked a lot on this show about Game of Thrones. Because you and I are big Game of Thrones fans, but Eric doesn't watch. I don't know if he watches it.
He doesn't get HBO, so he can't.
Right, that's right. He can't watch it, so he kind of binge watches it, I think, when he can. And we kind of watch it live as we go. And this season of Game of Thrones has been unbelievable. I mean,
there hasn't been a dull moment.
That's what, like, there's the twists and turns, the things that are going on. I'm like, what? Like it just, there were a lot of what moments. Like, you just cannot believe all the things that are going on. Like, of this part of Game of Thrones so far, what's your favorite moment we've had up until now within this season? Like, what's the one that stuck out for you so far?
Oh, for me is going back in time, seeing Ned Stark fight Arthur Dayne.
Oh, okay, yep, all right.
Because that the whole, if you go back to season 1 where Jaime Lannister's fighting,
Yep.
Ned Stark, and the guy spears him through the back.
Yeah.
The look on Jaime Lannister's face is the same as on Ned Stark's face when Arthur Dayne gets it.
Correct. Yes. Yeah, and I wonder if like that was supposed to be like that kind of like little mini homage kind of thing, and like you got a chance to see why that look came about.
Right. Because between both fights, everything was honorable between the two of them.
Correct.
You know, between Jaime Lannister and Ned Stark, and between Arthur Dayne and Ned Stark.
And I have to admit, that scene made me want to go back and maybe watch all of Game of Thrones again, but this time all in order. You know what I mean? Like, I never binge watched it all, and that scene actually made me want to go back. I'm kind of like, I wonder if I binged watched this, if I'd understand it a whole heck of a lot more than I do. Like, I understand it, but there are points where you get lost because you're like, where does this family go? You know, like
right.
they play the Catholic game, you know.
Right, because Arthur Dayne was the best swordsman.
Right.
And everybody, right up until that scene, was that Arthur Dayne was unbeatable, and Ned Stark beat him.
Right, exactly.
Okay, going into the future now, Jaime Lannister's the best swordsman in Westeros and all that, and Ned Stark's fighting him. So
yeah.
No, that's all that. But that I wanted to see the Sword of the Morning out right from the time I read about him.
Okay. The one that stuck out to me, at least so far in the season, well, there's two that stick out. So I have a hard time because they both kind of seeing Snow. Is it Jamie Snow?
No, Jon Snow.
Jon Snow. Thank you.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
That's right. Well, Jon Snow coming back to life. I mean, just the fact that they brought his body back. I'm like, it was almost predictable, but at the same time, I was kind of like, wow. You know, like I just didn't expect it. And
that way.
Well, that's why, and the fact that we now find out that the woman that brought him back to life
is an old hag.
Is an old woman. Yeah. I mean, you can't forget that. I mean, there's just something about that.
Which there's people's theories that she's one of the first men.
And that's a possibility. I'm almost remember they talk about the ancients too. Like I'm wondering if she's part of that group, the ancients, and she's been around for eternity. And then it makes me wonder, how many ancients are there? Are there a lot of them out there and we just never knew it? And, you know, like, are they wearing a medallion or something we don't know about? Like, I don't know. There was a lot of questions that came with that whole scene. And then the other one that really stuck out for me, and it was just this past week we watched, Bran being able to get in front of the king, the
White Walker?
The White Walker king.
The Night King. That's it.
The Night King, thank you. I was trying to think of the name. And the fact that he touched him, and then all of a sudden he instantly knew where they're at. It was kind of like, whoa. You know, I just like that whole scene was just like a shocker. And then from that point forward, it was just like unbelievable. Yep. And then losing Hodor, I'm like, I can't, you know, like.
No. Got used to the whole X-Men Star Wars.
Right, we didn't see a body. This is true.
We didn't see him die, so therefore he's still alive.
But I was also thinking, like, what if Hodor is a zombie? Like, whoa. You know, like, you'd be one heck of a zombie. How do you stop Hodor as a zombie? You know, like
Valyrian steel.
That might be the only way.
Dragonstone.
Right. But I knew as soon as my wife and I were watching, I looked at her. I said, "How many memes do you think there's going to be out there about between Hodor and Hold the Door?" No, his name's been Hold the Door. Like a door stops with Hodor on them. I mean, it's been awesome. It's made me laugh.
Elevator door, hold the door.
Yeah, hold the door. Yeah, Hodor. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, it screamed all sorts of different things. But a great episode, and it left you on a cliffhanger where you're like, "Oh my gosh, what is going on?" Like And that's happened almost every week so far.
And the other part of the Game of Thrones so far this season is the Daenerys growing set.
Yes.
When she burned all the Dothraki.
Well, yeah. Yeah,
and then she comes walking out.
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome.
I'm sure you enjoyed every second of that. My wife's like, "Why did she have to come out naked?" She's like, "Why did she have to come out naked?" I'm like, "Because that's what she does."
I mean, that whole part of the side, just seeing her just burning everybody, it's great.
So here's a theory I have, and let's see if you agree with my theory. I think the whole point of all this has nothing to do with all the different people we're talking about. I think it has everything to do with the Stark family. I think the whole storyline is going to wrap back around to the Stark children finally coming back together and reclaiming the throne. Don't you think that's...
reclaiming the North, you mean?
Right. Well, reclaiming the North and the throne. I think they're going to reclaim the North and come down and just... The throne's ours.
They don't want the throne. That's the thing about the Starks.
Well, they don't want it, but I think it's going to be thrust upon them. Just because they're going to be so powerful, who's going to want to go up against them? You know what I mean?
And the other thing we found out is that the children of the Forest are the ones that are behind the White Walkers, too.
This is true. Well, like we found out the history of the White Walkers, which I have to admit did not see that part of it coming. I did not see that. No, I didn't read the book. Have you read the books? I've never read the books.
I've listened to the books. I haven't.
You've done the audiobooks.
Yeah, I did
the
audiobooks. Yeah.
I have not done any of that.
The only book I did read was the like a compendium book that talked about the past up to
right up until that point.
Right up until Robert's Rebellion and all that.
Okay. Yeah, and everybody's like, "Oh, it's so different from the books," and this and that. I'm like, but I don't even want to I want to wait till the series is over and then I'll read the books because I don't want to ruin anything just in case,
This whole series is.
But apparently, it's nothing like the books at all.
Well, that's the thing. This whole season.
Yeah, it's not even in the books, right?
The books ain't even written yet.
Right, right. So it's almost like it's foretelling what's going to happen in the books.
Yeah, this is the producer's version of it.
Right, which is kind of a shame because it'd be nice to have the book first, then
Right.
It's kind of like we're putting the cart before the horse. But
well, it's like we haven't seen one character yet that's played a major role in it so far in the books.
Right,
we haven't
correct.
seen her in the
right, like
in the show.
One of my friends, shout out to Rob Johnson, told me that Tyrion Lannister plays barely a role in the books, but yet in the TV show he's this huge character, and of course I attribute that to the actor that's playing Tyrion. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, in the books, he's just kind of kind of a side note, not really much of a character.
Yeah, especially right now.
Right, like he said in this part of the story, he's really not that important yet. In the show, he's been a huge part. So, who do you think, in the end, is going to end up on the throne? Who do you think, if this show ends at the end of the season? I don't think it's going to happen. But let's say at the end of the season, who's on the throne?
Sansa.
You think Sansa ends up on the throne? I have a theory that ultimately Daenerys ends up there.
That's where everything's pointing to.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to happen.
Really? I think her and her dragons are going to reacquaint, and somehow she's going to use the dragons to wipe everyone out.
Well, that's the thing. The dragons came back.
Yeah.
And the White Walkers came back.
Oh, that's true. At the same time.
Right.
Maybe that's the balance they talk about all the time. That one has to come before the other or whatever.
So in order to destroy the White Walkers, you got to destroy the dragons.
Oh, hey, now that's interesting. Cool.
See, I'm not just Filoni.
No, you aren't. You're just Filoni. Apparently, you're the Filoni of everything. Okay, so there were our thoughts on, oh my gosh, the young lady with the Chewbacca mask.
Yeah. So Ned, you better let us know what's going on.
Yeah, man, let us talk to it, Ned. We're talking to you, Ned.
And not to forget Hondo. You can let us know too.
No, but Ned's our man tonight. Hondo's our man.
That's true. Hondo the door.
Hondo the door. So, give us your thoughts, young lady with the Chewbacca mask. Give us your thoughts about Captain America being a Hydra agent. Can't believe I'm saying that. Give us your thoughts about Game of Thrones. Is it all boobies or is there cool stuff going on there?
That's what Ian McShane says.
So, we'll be back in just a moment to talk about the next episode of Star Wars Rebels.
You get that part right.
It took me a second. You notice I hesitated on that?
I know.
Okay, so this is where we're going to pause the video, folks. So we'll be back in just a little bit on the video. And we're going to go watch some Rebels. We'll be back. Okay, we're back for our video, and now we're going to start our audio. Okay, folks, and we're back. Hi, Ned. We're here to talk about this episode of Star Wars Rebels. See, the distractions I get all the time. Constant distraction. We're here to talk about this episode of Star Wars Rebels titled The Forgotten Droid. Not The Forgotten Ned, The Forgotten Droid. So, it was an interesting episode. I mean, there's a lot of things in this particular episode that I'm still perplexed about. We're talking about droids having some empathy, which they're programmed, so I don't know how you can have empathy as a droid. I'm not quite sure how that works because by the end of the show, it's not a Death Star droid, whatever you want to call it, the other droid that wasn't Chopper seemed to have some empathy. The other part of it that it's an interesting debate, the idea of free will that they kept debating throughout the entire episode. Like, the whole episode was about free will. Do droids get free will or don't they? I mean, don't you think that was kind of the overarching theme area like that? And I thought it was an interesting theme in that Chopper seems to get free will at a lot of time. I mean, like, the whole beginning of the episode was about Chopper's free will, and will Chopper end up making the decision to go get the leg that he wasn't supposed to go get, which is basically the whole premise of the beginning of the episode is, does Chopper break the rules? And, of course, he does. I mean, they fully expected him to do it, and he did it. Does that really surprise you? I mean, like, you would have thought the whole crew would have known Chopper was going to go do that. I was not surprised at all. Did you really? No. I mean, I was like, come on. I mean, here's the leg. Of course he's going to go get it. I totally saw that coming.
Yeah, and the attempt at comedy.
It was a little almost far-fetched, forced a little bit. I will agree with the forced part of it, and not in a good way. Not like force it in there. It was bad. It was that part of it. I agree. It was forced, and it was. Part of it was funny, and part of it was not. Here's the odd thing I was thinking about is when we were watching the episode about 3/4 of the way through, I'm realizing there's not a lot of actual dialogue going on in this episode. Most of the dialogue was one-sided. It was the Death Star droid, and most of it...
Yeah, because he's the only one that can actually
talk. And most of it was Chopper just kind of,
right.
And all I could think of was, like, Eric. Of course, Eric's not here. I wish he was, because I knew he would have had a unique perspective on this. But he hates Chopper's voice. Yeah. And this entire episode is, like, one big Chopper voice all the way through.
And there's been a couple times where he went to uh-oh and stuff like that. And,
right, yeah.
So it's... There
were a couple of things I actually understood. Like, hey, give that back. I understood that. The fact that the whole episode revolved around this leg that Chopper stole, did you think that was a good gimmick, like a good catch at the what he did at the beginning? Was that a good catch for the whole episode, or was that just kind of lame for you? I mean,
I don't know. I think it was a good idea for it, because what else is Chopper going to do?
Right, like what's he really after?
And what I've been saying right along is we've had every character of the Rebels team. They had their own get to know with me episode.
Yep.
And this is Chopper's get.
So you think this was the Chopper episode to get to know the Chopper? I mean, I guess I could kind of see that. I mean, the one thing I did find interesting is Chopper talks about his freedom and the fact that he gets to choose friends, which I guess I'd never thought of before this episode, was that Chopper actually does get to choose who he hangs out with. I mean, he does and he doesn't. He also knows he's owned by Hera, although he doesn't ever really register the fact that he's owned by Hera, but he's kind of proud of that at the same time. So that was kind of weird.
Well, he doesn't think that he's owned by Hera.
Yeah.
It's just that Hera is his friend because she saved him.
Correct.
Kind of like a life debt that Chewbacca.
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah, I was about to say like a life debt like Chewbacca. I did find it interesting, too, that we do kind of get his backstory here, because we find out that he screwed up at the Battle of Ryloth and was ready to be set to the scrapyard, and Hera's the one that kind of basically... saved him.
His Y-Wing fighter got shot down.
Correct. His Y-Wing got shot down, and he was ready to go to the scrapyard, and she saved him. And I also found it interesting that the Death Star droid had gotten demoted because of his role in the Battle of Ryloth. So here's two droids in the same battle, and they kind of go on different paths, but somehow end up working together in this particular episode. And I did find that slightly interesting. Like I said to you, the part that perplexed me was I didn't know droids could get promoted, demoted, whatever you want to call it.
Oh, they just get a new version of Windows, that's all.
Right? Like, yeah. Well, yeah, a new operating system.
So he went from Windows 10 back to Windows 7.
Yeah, but for most people, that would be an upgrade. So, like, I mean, that's all... I don't know. Like, that was all conjecture throughout the entire episode. Of course, the whole episode is basically about Chopper getting this leg, stealing an Imperial vessel, and trying to meet up with the rest of the fleet, and convincing this Imperial droid to join him, basically. So, that, I mean, isn't that the major premise? I mean, to me, that was the major premise of the whole episode. And then you have the side story, which is the rebels have run out of fuel again. And so now they need to go rob some fuel and get it back to the rebel fleet. And again. That seems to be a big problem for them is fuel. Yep. You would think they would have a better pipeline and some fuel. But not at this point.
No.
So, hang on. It's been late at night, folks. So we...
That's actually Bob's opinion of this episode.
That is might kind of be, yes. So long story short, I mean, there's this battle that they end up finding out that the rebels are getting attacked by the Imperial fleet. They need the fuel. They get it there, and of course, in the process, they find out that the Imperials have the planet they want to escape to. And I know I'm whipping through this episode at this point. So yet again, it's kind of like they get the right information at the right time. The Imperial droid sends them the correct stuff, and they end up going to a different planet. And they kind of leave it on a cliffhanger slightly. I mean, we get to this planet, and they're like, must have been a good planet, good decision. And Chopper joins up with them. I don't know. It's just the whole episode. I don't want to get into the storyline because it's just too simple. It actually seemed a little too easy.
And you got to remember what this show was made for.
Well, I know. It's for kids. So, I get that.
And this is a kiddie episode.
This was a very kiddish episode, yeah. The fact that Chopper fights off stormtroopers, an Imperial officer, it just seemed a little unrealistic,
Well, this whole crew on this ship is bumbling idiots anyway.
They are. They absolutely are. The stormtroopers are tripping over each other. They can barely hit Chopper. And even when they did hit Chopper, it didn't seem to disable him for whatever reason. So apparently they don't know where to hit a droid. The fact that the Death Star droid helps him out, and they don't even shoot at the Death Star droid. I thought they would have shot him. Nope. And then the Imperial officer shoots the Death Star droid in the end. I actually thought it would have been better in the end if the Death Star droid died instead of him coming back to life and them repairing him using the leg and all that. I don't know. Not necessary.
The whole using the leg to repair the other droid is lame in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, I would rather it have been in the droid died.
Excuse me again. Give Chopper his leg. He went through all that trouble to get that leg.
That's what I'm saying. Give him the leg. Have that droid die. And maybe Chopper has to deal with the angst of he knows a droid that died in the process of fighting the Imperials. Wouldn't that have been better? I mean, like...
Well, that take would be okay, in my opinion, but why don't you just take the material out of the old leg that he's got and
put it in the new one.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of like plot holes to it. It was like somebody said, let's tell a Chopper backstory, but we don't know how to tell it, so let's set up this angst, even though there's really not any, and set up some sort of storyline and quick tell some sort of backstory for Chopper.
Right. Well, now, why would you want to jettison all that cargo? What's in the cargo?
I don't know. That was the other thing too that I was kind of thinking, like, other than the stormtroopers.
Yeah.
Why?
And you could have stuck him in those stormtroopers in any little compartment.
Right. And why jettison the whole thing?
That, yeah.
Right. Like I didn't get that either. Like I almost would have thought it would have been better to like lure them to a pod, right, like an escape pod, and get them in one of those, and then jettison that. Yeah. I don't know. I agree with you. Like. There was a lost moment for the rebels. They could have stolen a whole bunch of stuff, and now there it is. Of course, who knows? They could go back. It's now floating in space. They could go back and get it, kill the stormtroopers, and grab it. But, I mean, I get what you're saying, Gary. Like, it's just, again, another lost plot point that could have been a major point that could have worked in their favor. Just a lot of weird... This whole episode was kind of odd and awkward, and, like, I wanted it to be cool, because we've had a couple cool episodes now, and then this one just kind of fizzled.
It was all rushed.
It was rushed. It was it was rushed. You're right. It was rushed. It felt fizzled. It felt forced. I don't know. It felt awkward and weird, and I don't know. It just, like you said, the yawn. Yeah. So let's rate this episode. I guess there's really not much more for us to say. This is your second time watching this one.
Yeah.
Was it better the second time?
No.
Because I always go back and watch them a second time. No, it's the same. Okay. Okay. So Gary,
I struggled through it the first time around.
Yeah.
So, matter of fact, I think I fell asleep a couple times.
Did you? So. So what would you give this episode?
A Ned.
What is a Ned? What number is that?
Well, I replaced 3 for Ned.
Okay, so a 3. Okay. Any good parts of this episode at all?
No.
You're struggling with that one. Okay. I was actually going to say a 4 myself. Some of the humor I liked. Most of it I didn't like, but some of it I liked. Me personally, there were just too many plot hole points. I didn't like the battle even. The space battle seemed weird, forced. And then they went into hyperspace at the cruiser. I mean, really? Like, it was almost like, I don't know, that the whole scene, most of the scenes just seemed forced and weird. I mean, the only cool thing I liked about the whole episode was the scene when he went over to the Ugnaughts station and we got to see all the little computer stuff in the background.
Yeah, the different droids.
The different droid parts and droids and all that. But it all just, it seemed very forced and very awkward and very weird. And I don't know, it just, bad episode. And I like I said to you, man, I hope they're getting better as the season goes on. Because right now I'm looking at this going, everybody was clamoring about the end of the season of Rebels. I'm going, I'm not liking this.
Yeah, we ain't got dead episodes left. So
yeah, this is true. There's only 3 to go. So that's our thoughts. I mean, there's not much more we can put out there. Why is it when you and I are together, they're very short episodes? We don't talk a lot. So
must be Eric's the windbag.
No, yeah, there you go. We're gonna blame Eric. I can't wait till that comes back on us.
Well, he's not here. We got to pick on.
We got to pick on him somehow. Yeah.
Austin's not here. So.
Yeah, this is true, and Austin usually gets picked on pretty bad. So that's our thoughts on Star Wars Rebels. I don't even know what else to say here. I mean, we definitely did not like this episode. It was definitely not a 10 for us.
Yeah. I just want to know if Hondo was still holding the door.
This is true.
And Ned, let us know what you thought of this episode.
Yes, absolutely. So, we gave it our thoughts. You give it yours. Head on over to GalaxyCast.com. Click on that button. It says Contact Us. Let us know what you thought of this episode. And as we'll always like to say here in the Star Production Studios, may the Force be with those who listen.
Ned.
That's so awkward for just 2 people to say that. I'm so used to us doing it all. So that's it, folks. I don't know what to say. Like, this was not the greatest night for us testing our video again, but hey, we're back online with our video, so I can't complain too much. Hopefully we'll have more than 2 people. We should have our 3rd back by next week, maybe even 4th. You never know. And we're going to keep working on updating the studio. You'll see all sorts of stuff going on behind you, and we'll keep talking about our lovely posters here at some point. I've added, if you haven't noticed since our last video. So, bye, GalaxyCast Land.